What's up, everybody? My name is RoyaleRebelle, and in this video, I am going to be talking about a reoccurring issue that keeps coming up in the cosplay community, and it's this idea that you need to make your cosplays, any percentage of your cosplays, to be a valid cosplayer. Now, before I kind of dive into this a little bit, a bit of my background: I've been a cosplayer on and off since 2015. I've been more so dedicated since 2020. Now, in the past year, I have fallen off a little bit because I gave birth to my daughter, so I haven't been able to get in cosplay as much as I would like. Um, but just to kind of show you, like, I've been a cosplayer for a long time. I kind of came in at the beginning of when cosplay started becoming more mainstream and more accessible via like being able to purchase your cosplays. So while I don't share the experiences of like a lot of older cosplayers or a lot of cosplayers that my age where it was a time where you had to make cosplays in order to cosplay, because really the only thing that was available was Halloween costumes. I feel like I have a little bit of an interesting perspective, but even though I really haven't made most, I mean, I don't even know if you want to count any. I do have a background in sewing. Like, I actually was raised learning how to sew. I learned before I was 10. So like I might not have the highest skills because sewing takes a lot of time, energy, and materials. I've sewn for a while. Like, I do have at least the skills to be an amateur craftsman. So I feel like I do have a good background to talk about this subject. And just real quick, I'm just going to start off with the definition of cosplay. Cosplay is the combination of the words costume and play. Literally, the only thing you need to be a cosplayer is to put on a cosplay. And I don't know if it's just like because cosplay has become so accessible that like people feel the need to kind of validate themselves and call themselves a quote unquote real cosplayer. But this is a terrible mentality to have. Like, the people, the type of people that traditionally cosplay, like before we talk about the mainstream, are kind of like outcast type of people, because it's like it was the cliche nerd thing to do. Like, you had to be a super mega nerd to want to cosplay. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing because I've always been a super mega nerd. Like, I remember even being in middle school being obsessed with like Batman and Harley Quinn and stuff like that. Um, but like I feel like the community stemming from like this outcast sort of group, and then it's grown into the mainstream and it's become more widely accessible and like more people are interested into it, and now because of that manufacturers make the accessibility more into it. Like, for whatever reason these people feel threatened, and the only way they can kind of validate these feelings that they're having is by saying, oh well, I made my cosplay. And that's such an awful, awful, awful mentality because, like, there are so many different skills that go into cosplay. Like, if you don't want to focus on the craftsmanship, like, that's not the only way to explore cosplay. Because, like, wig making, it's its own craft. Photography is its own craft. Like, if you just want to get dressed up and be silly and go to a convention for a weekend, that is totally valid for hobbies. Like, your hobby should be how you want to enjoy it. And so I feel like I really wanted to make this video because I know there might be some people out there who don't feel welcome and feel intimidated because they've never made their cosplay. And even though I have the skills to make a cosplay, like I can count on one hand all of the pieces of cosplay I've made, because my first ever cosplay was a bombshell Harley Quinn, and because I am a plus size woman, I've been a plus size woman my entire life. I had to make my own bralette for my bombshell. The jacket I got at Hot Topic, the shorts I got off Amazon, actually everything else I got off of Amazon. Um Flash forward to like 2 years ago is the next time I was able to make something for cosplay. So all the cosplays I did between 2015 and 2020, they were bought. I made a bodysuit for a Raven cosplay because I do have the intention of entering craftsman competitions. I just need the time, materials, whatever. But yeah, so I made a bodysuit. I have the pieces to make the cape. I have the pattern. I have the materials. Like, I just need the time. I guess you could count my wedding dress Harley Quinn. So I bought the base of the wedding dress, but all of the paint job and stuff like that, I did that myself. And I've attempted some other crafts things, but those are like literally like the only things in the God, it's been like almost 10 years. And like the 10 almost 10 years I've been a cosplayer, I've made like three things specifically for cosplay. And that's because it takes a lot to be a craftsman. Like, I think these people, like, they know they can gatekeep by saying you have to make parts of your cosplay to be a valid cosplayer, because it's kind of a high barrier of entry. Now, so if you're like me, I always look out on the deals for patterns. Like, I literally have a giant box of patterns, because whenever Joann's has Simplicity or McCall patterns on sale for like their $2 or $1, I literally buy as many as I can. Especially because there are some that are only seasonal. So, and they do that, I think, like 3 or 4 times a year. But like, if you're not getting them on those deals, like a standard pattern costs like $20. And for the most part, they're kind of one and done use, which is why like I think digital patterns are better, but that's another video. But that's $20 for just the base. That doesn't include the fabric, that doesn't include the thread, that doesn't include any of the little embellishments that you want to put on there. So if you want lace, buttons, like patches, whatever, like it doesn't include any of that. Like, it gets expensive fast to be a craftsman. And not only that, like, you have to buy the machine, you have to buy accessories for the machine, like seam rippers, pins, all these little things that go with it. Like, cosplay is an expensive hobby. Even if you're not buying it, like, it is an expensive hobby. But that's why I don't beef with people who don't make their cosplays. Because one, even if like we assume everybody has the ability to do it, because like one, you kind of have to be able-bodied to sew. Like, it is, even with a machine, or like if you 3D print or whatever, like it requires you to be able-bodied. So like, why would we gatekeep disabled cosplayers who can't physically make their own cosplays? Like, that's not their fault, and they should still be welcome to the hobby. But it's so incredibly expensive. And so like, that's probably like the biggest motivator for me buying my cosplays, is that I will look at pieces, and because I'm not entering craftsman competitions yet, for me it's just like, okay, for this convention I'm going to for this weekend, what's cheaper for me to buy something that's already made and manufactured, or buy the pieces, buy the pattern, buy all the notions, and then make it, like, for me, at the end of the day, I just enjoy dressing up and going out, or I enjoy doing the photography aspect, like getting my photos taken or taking my photos and then editing them. Like, that's what I enjoy. Or even like just doing TikToks. Like, if you want to do cosplay just to make silly little TikToks, like, that is 1,000% a valid way to cosplay. But I guess, sorry if this is a little bit rambly. I'm still getting new to the whole filming myself like this kind of content. But ultimately, I just want to say, if you are a cosplayer and you have never in your life made a single piece of your cosplay, you are 100% a valid cosplayer, because all cosplay is adults playing dress up. Like, that's all there is to it. Oh, that is that is my piece on this. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more cosplay content, please like this video and subscribe to my channel so I can bring you more cosplay content.